I'm Victoria Savage, Nurse Savage on your side, your wisdom guided oracle. And we're having coffee, and I'm having luxurious coffee this morning. One little way I'm loving myself on Valentine's Day, I'm offering this to myself early. And this has whole cream in it. And for me, that other than adding honey into it, it doesn't get better than this. I didn't add honey for a reason this morning, but I digress. Happy Valentine's Day. Or not. For some of us, this is a day of torture. It's a day when nothing happens like everybody on Facebook is showing, or Instagram, or whatever. It can become a very, very sad affair for many, many people. Good morning, Mindy. So, we're going to explore a little bit about Valentine's Day because it's all about love, all about love. And it's mostly about need. Truthfully, not so much about what love really is. And the goddess Venus is coming through to talk to us a little bit about love and what that really means. And I've pulled some energy cards, have not looked at them yet. Pulled a couple goddesses cards and love them. One, it was like I almost put it back um, because of what we're talking about this morning, which is love. It is Valentine's Day. For those of you who have that person, that special one in your life that makes you feel special, does wonderful things for you, that's awesome. But there are a lot of us who do not have that and who find this holiday abhorrent, find it painful, find it very disheartening and sad. And so we're going to talk about that because that is absolutely as true as anything else. One of the songs that is newer songs that has come out. In fact, she won a Grammy for it is Miley Cyrus's Flowers. And the first time I heard that, I went, oh my gosh, that is such a powerful song. And those of you who have followed me for any length of time know I'm all about empowerment and personal power because it's within ourselves that we find everything we need. Others can add to it and enhance and give us enlightenment and understandings about our journey. But the stuff we really need is within our divine selves and in our divine relationship with whatever we call that higher power. So the act of growing that and exploring that and learning how to utilize that very romantic, loving relationship is huge in getting on with life in a way that is far more comfortable, that is far more enlightening and enjoyable and empowering and peaceful within us. So, love. You know, the Bible said in the 10 Commandments, love your neighbor as yourself. And truth is, I think we've done a pretty good job of that because there aren't very many of us that love ourselves, and the world is showing us how little we've been able to give that to our neighbors. Now, of course, what we hear in the news and on all the media crap is everything bad that we can possibly be inundated with, because that produces dis-ease and fear inside us. And those are easy to control. If you tune into other things on these social media, you will see the beautifulness that is us in the world and ways we enact love to one another. But the truth is, until we have more inside us to give, we cannot truly love one another because we don't really have that, excuse me, inside us to give anyone else. We are giving based in need, and the need is to be accepted, to find in another a mirror that is comfortable for us to look at. And this romantic love, this thing that we think we need to have on this day where we find flowers given to us. And now I've been married 41 years, and most of the time I really like him. We are very comfortable, we work very well together. Early on in our marriage, I am so grateful for the wisdom that was imparted to me by Uriel, the angel I have traveled with and channel regularly. that I understood that my husband's way of loving me was not necessarily the same as my love language. I love gifts and surprises. My husband is not a gift giver. He is not about surprises, but he is about service. He does everything he can to make my life easier. He warms up my car. He scrapes the windows. He carries stuff out for me. He's created this beautiful home, a kitchen. I'm a foodie, love to cook. He knows that. He doesn't really care about food all that much. I mean, it's great, but it's not his thing. He has remodeled my kitchen in the 40 years we've lived in this house 5 times to make it even better. Both times I was pregnant, he got me a new type of appliance to make life just a little bit easier. And so that is why it is incredibly dangerous for our psyche to be looking for our love in someone else. It is meaning that we are needing something from them. And in that relationship, I realized that I was not going to get flowers regularly. I was not going to get surprise little gifts that he thought of me, but he thinks of me all day long. I mean, that's what I grew to understand and know. Had I not been given that wisdom early on, our marriage would have been incredibly unfulfilling. And at times, they always, I can't say that. Not everybody has that kind of marriage, but ours has worked well. And there have been times when I felt like my needs weren't getting met. And so then I have to go in and find out, okay, what is it I really need? And what is it that is coming from within me? So it really is, again, all about you taking care of you learning what your needs really are and how to meet them. That is a far more powerful way to step into a relationship, to grow in a relationship. Our daughter was married in our yard 10 years ago, and I have planted flowers many years. This beautiful property came with this old lovely lilac bush that still puts out flowers almost every year. Sometimes she gets frozen, but um, and I used to bring them in, and my husband would walk through and make a remark like, "Achoo, achoo." And so I quit bringing in flowers. It's just like, well, and then one day after my daughter got married in our yard, and I planted baskets of flowers and I bought flowers, made arrangements. So for a couple of weeks afterwards, because chrysanthemums will last forever, I pared down these bouquets and had flowers in my house, and they brought me such joy. And I love flowers. And so I said to myself, why haven't I been um, bringing flowers in? And then I went back to what my husband would do, and he doesn't have allergies. And so I just went, done with that. Started planting yearly more flowers, make wonderful bouquets. In the wintertime, I will still buy myself flowers and create more bouquets because they make me happy. They are one way I love myself, and a very lighthearted way, not one that means I have to discipline myself in order to love my body in some way. They're just a very high vibe way that I get to love myself. And so we want to start seeking the things that we need from within. When I got the title of this reading, it was, "What is love really? And why can it turn to hate in a nanosecond?" Because we are so often looking to others to meet our needs or to get our enoughness from, to get our okayness from. And when they fail to do that, and they pretty much always will, someone's going to fail us in that because they cannot give us what we need. When they fail, it turns to anger and hate. And of course, we see that in breakups and divorces all the time, those that cannot separate comfortably because there are mistakes we're going to make in thinking that this person, and maybe when we got together with them, they were what we needed at that time. But generally, all these hookups, all of this are need-based relationships. So two things need to change. How can I learn to love myself more, and how can I give that love to someone else with greater effect? So let's look at what the cards came through, what Venus wanted to bring in those. Well, the first card coming up is deceit. And really that's true. The truth is when we start a relationship with someone, and we all know if you've had any number, if you've had more than one long-term relationship or whatever, that we're all on our best behavior at the beginning. You are not seeing the true us. What you see is not what you get. And so we enter into this relationship, and they're doing their best to be what they think we need, and we're doing our best to be what we think they need. And that falsehood, that that shoe does not fit well. And so then as the relationship evolves, the more true us and our needs, which are not getting met because someone else can't meet those, are starting to show up. And often they butt heads enough that it's like, we can't continue to do this. We need to move on. And so we break up or we get divorced. And so oftentimes these love relationships are entered into with deceit. And then the next card that came up was a woman holding a coin. And this came up in reverse. And what has this got to do with love? And the feminine has been that one, quote unquote, needing to be taken care of. And this woman holding the coin is that embodiment of that feminine energy, that the truth is, no one can take care of us the way we can. And that feminine energy is the receiver of the energies we desire, but it comes from our higher self, our spirit self, the universe, our relationship with our higher power. The energy of who we are is our spirit, is our divinity. And so this need for someone else to be our enoughness, to take care of us, that knight in shining armor, they're not showing up. I'm sorry if I'm breaking any illusions for some of you lovely, lovely women. You don't need to be rescued. You don't need anyone to make you enough. You do need to find it within yourself somehow. And that mantra that I offer regularly, I'm open, I'm willing, I'm ready, guide me. Show me how to find the enoughness that I desire, the okayness within myself. Show me what needs to go, what needs to leave, and show me what needs to come in that I can do. Because we are the creator of this life. And once you really own that and you start understanding how you've brought to you, maybe some of you have been in cyclical relationships, one after another, and you keep attracting the same kind of person. There's a whole lot of message in that and learning to be had. And so you want to go to that before you start embarking on looking for another one to fulfill that hole in you. The hole needs to come back to you, because that is where it is found. Good morning, Tony. And she posted a video there about Be Your Own Valentine. I posted one with that song by Miley Cyrus. I can buy myself flowers. I can write my name in the sand. I can talk to myself for hours and say things you don't understand. Developing that love of ourself relationship is really key to ever being truly ready to enter into a wholesome, in the truest sense of the word, wholesome relationship. The next word that came up was the sun in reverse. And it really is kind of a warning. It's like, all of these relationships in the beginning, it is sunshine and flowers and roses, and it feels so good and it's so high vibe. But the truth is, until you're whole, it is not going to continue that way. And that sunshine is going to dim into sadness and into deceit and into aloneness. Excuse me. A lot of throat chakra stuff coming up this morning. Interesting. I truly feel that the powers that were do not want us to learn to love ourselves, because when we learn to love ourselves, we stand in our power. And when we stand in our power, we cannot be controlled and manipulated. And so you do want to really start cultivating these energies for yourself and start doing your own healing work, because as high vibe as the sun is, it is absolutely just kind of like the two opposites, love and hate, sunshine and darkness. We will continue in the dim, in the sadness, in that total whirlpool of, sucking us down and keeping us in a state of powerlessness and need and unmet wants if we cannot learn to cultivate this relationship on ourselves, with ourselves. So walking away. This is usually like from a relationship. The truth is, this came up in reverse. We're talking about you. Truth is, you cannot run away from you. You cannot walk away. I mean, relationships, when they become unfulfilling, we cannot walk away from. And, it's interesting on this Valentine's Day. One of the real strong messages that has come up for me this morning as I was looking at, what to be bringing through the next few weeks and what are the energies, and suicide has been coming up regularly here. And it's been something, because it's so upfront. And our lovely loved ones are considering this as the option they need to take, for whatever reason. And it is a thing that is devastating on all parties. We can't walk away from ourselves. And so healing this psyche, this emotional body, this very injured person inside us for whatever reason. A good friend, daughter, just committed suicide last week. She had been in the service and she was a very tender soul. She never recovered from that experience and finally took her own life. Our service people need our compassion and need our help, because what they are walking away from is themselves, the shame, the regret, the anger, the hatred that they have turned inside for whatever reason. And, we are forcing these people to go into situations that no human should ever be entering into. No human should ever see the things they are seeing. It is the same with our first responders. They are subject to seeing things that are soul shaking, that can break their souls if they don't engage regularly in some kind of, psych work, talk work, counseling, energy work, all of it. So because we cannot walk away from ourselves, our next best option is to learn to love ourselves. And in order to do that, we need to start healing those wounds. That inner child is a big one. And then lucky that we brought in much of these energies from our ancestors, because we can clear them in this lifetime. We can clear all of it, but we have to be intentional in the process. And the energy work is a pathway to clear that. So the next energy that came up was true love. This is all Guinevere. This is that romantic love. It is, as Miley Cyrus says, time to buy your own flowers, time to romance yourself. How would you reach out to that partner? How have you reached out to that partner? Again, my husband anymore doesn't buy cards either. So the other day I was buying cards for my granddaughters in the store, and I bought one for my husband. And when I got home, there was another card in there that I did not have someone that I bought it for. And I went, oh, I bought it for me. This is the card. And so I filled it out for myself, because do I know my husband loves me? Absolutely. Is he going to buy me a card? No. Is he going to buy me flowers? No. I didn't buy flowers this year. I may still go do that. It just depends on how I feel. Do I need them? Maybe I do. I love them. So that romantic love may need to come to you from you. And that's a very good thing, as Martha Stewart would say. And the last one is this incredibly lovely, powerful goddess, Hathor, receptivity. We need to be able to receive that love. And that's where that injured child, that injured self in us, can stop us from loving ourselves too. We don't know how to receive because we are so filled with all the dense energies of regret, fear, self deception, self loathing, self hatred, shame. All of these things weigh us down and build these blocks around us. And if you look, this powerful energy running right across her breasts, that is the place of nurturing. And that is what we really want to start doing, is nurturing ourselves. So I ask you today, on this Valentine's Day, what is it you can do to love yourself? Maybe because of the holidays, you've restricted yourself from sweets. You've restricted yourself from the goodies. Maybe today would be a wonderful day to go to the Cheesecake Factory and buy that piece of chocolate cake. I'm speaking to me because my 4-year-old granddaughter asked me yesterday, Grandma, what's your favorite food? And I said, well, Ren, I'm a foodie. I love lots of different foods. She said, but Grandma, if you could name one, what is your favorite food? I said, chocolate cake. And then and then she decided she'd been talking about throwing up. And so then she told me that, well, when you throw up, it tastes like chocolate cake. We had a whole other discussion about that. But yeah, she was trying to convince me. She's such a little character. But I digress. Do something outlandishly lavish in a way to love yourself today. What could that possibly look like to you? Maybe it's calling into work and going skiing. Maybe it's something that big. Maybe it's stopping on the way to work and buying yourself that rose, reminding you who is important to love in your life. I think we are complete for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Victoria Savage, Nurse Savage, on your side, your wisdom guided oracle. Until we meet again.